Hi everybody, Adam Whalen here from REH, and this is just a little short demo tutorial on how I do my tearaways. And yeah, it's just the way I've been shown the glue I use, the method in which I do it, and I trust this method because I've had them up to 1.2 bar and they just don't leak, they work, they're nice and flexible, and they go in and they're super quick to do, super simple. And yeah, I'll show you the products I use, the glue, and the way I do it. And tearaways are a great little tool in your arsenal because when you've got lots and lots of bends and you're pretty sure the cali won't get there, so you can't do a downstream excavation. They're great for doing disco gullies that might even have another 90. And you know that you'd never get your cali through, but you know you can put a tearaway, it's going to go down a disco gully, 190, 290, 390, straight, another 90, 45, in close proximity. We can get through that and get it all relined. So yeah, time for art attack time, and I'll show you how I do it. Over to my hands. So these are the tools you'll need. You'll need a blower, good set of scissors, the marker pen for marking out. That's the super glue I use, methylated spirits or even primer, and a nice clean rag. There's your liner. And actually, with my tears, I like to use flexible green cali because you're not having to glue the stitch, where that can quite often lose air through the stitch and it's more difficult to glue. So it's the one time I do use flexible green. Pretty safe when it's just ambient cure because you've not got that head and you're not getting the temperature that's going to break your heat stamp. So, but when you do get it, this is critical. So have a good check of it over. Try and pull that heat stamp off. It should be solid. But yeah, and here's how I do it. So you've marked out your liner. Say that's your vac area, and you want your tear to be roughly about 80 to 100 mil from the end. You've taken into account all your retraction and everything else. All I do, I don't do a big, I just do a little dot there and a dot there. That's your angle. Yep. And so I know that because when I slide it over, I just have to hit these lines and I know that I'm correct and I'm past. Okay. So here's how I do it. Oh, just a few things on that. Really, you want to make sure when you're measuring your shot out that this glued tear isn't over an inlet, and if it's avoidable, try and get it so it's not round a bend, because in theory, as when this crinkles up on your glue joint, it could leak air through the crinkles. So ideal situation, put it in a straight bit of pipe, but not always possible, but just be aware of that. So here's how I do it. There are many ways, but this is how I do it. So I come in on perpendicular, slightly in straight. I then go across like that. And then I come out perpendicular again. Just like that. Okay. So the reason we do that is when we're pulling it back, instead of hitting the glue as a straight, it gives point pressure and it tears off much easier. Okay. And I go in straight because I just find it easier to do my ends when I come in perpendicular, then the angle, then perpendicular again. Okay. And what I do then, which will become apparent later, cut that about that far down. Then all I do is take a little triangle off, so it looks like that. You can see that. Same with the other side. Pop her in. These are both on the same side because you're going to do your flaps on the same side. Pop that there. Chop. Okay, now we're going to sleeve this in. And then as soon as these marry up with our dots or there or thereabouts, you're good. So we know that our vac's going to get put onto this bit of liner when that gets folded back. But first of all, we've got a cleaner. You can use any cleaner really. I mean, I interchange between methylated spirits and primer, but they are corrosive, so you've just got to be careful, okay? So I'll show you what I do. Get a bit, just a little bit on here, like that. We're just going to take off any dirt or potential contaminants that could mess. So I'll give it a wipe. And you don't want it on there for too long. So get it off and then dry it off. I don't like leaving primer or methylated spirits excess sitting on that cali for too long. I just want to clean the surfaces, okay? Same again back on the other side. Get any nasties off. And yep, same again, give it a wipe. And the blower really does ensure it's nice and dry. Okay, that's done. So now we go over to our glue. So we're still in position. Get them bang even like that. Put them straight. Okay. Like I always say, if you're already watching this and you know what a tearaway is and you're doing them, you're in the game. This is just showing you how I do it, and you might like it or not like it, leave it, take it, but you're already in the game, so there you go. But don't watch this and think you can do one. You'll need a bit of training. I take my finger width, fold it back 10 mil. I do that inside curve there, keeping it out. So make sure there's a nice bead. And then what I do is I roll it on and I push the excess out this way, not the other way around. So you can see it's all coming out. So that means I know that I've got 10 milli of adhesion. And then wipe it. Make sure none's going down the sides, because I'll do those individually. And then I press out. Some people use duct tape or even like a spray can. I find you get better point pressure and pounds per square inch, shall we say, using your fingers. And I press hard with my fingers, and you know it's working, right? Because if you look closely, you can actually see the weave being held against the cali. That's how you know. Okay? So you can see it actually depressed. And I just keep pressing like that really, really hard. Now, you've got to let these two set for about 5 minutes before we move on to our ends. Because we have to fold it this way. And you've got to let it set before you start putting under any stress and moving it. The glue does take 3 or 4 minutes to go off. But I'd like to leave it 30 or 40 minutes before I actually put resin into it and shoot it. Okay? Get the excess off again. Just a good press down. Like so. Yep. There we go. There's the 2 flat sides done. Okay? Now this is why you should leave it 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm not going to. You open her up. Open her up from about, say, 1 meter away, and then you don't get it interfering as you're doing it. You fold it flat. You notice I'm not using a packer. I've never needed to do it. Do it like that. Right, so that's good to go. So the way I do it now, these 2 little flaps, I just don't put too much on. I've got to first glue this flap to that flap, and that's why I did a little triangle. So if you don't, you'll get a stiff ridge and it can leak. So first I let it just go off for 20 seconds. I let go and I push them 2 flaps together. Yeah. And then, so now there's it's like single ply here where the triangle's missing. And now I'm going to fold it down, so just not too much glue here. So you do all that, little triangle, and I just put a little dot on this ridge here, like that. Same again. Now you fold over like that. Same again, press out this way. See it bellowing out. And this here just keeps that cali nice and straight. See the excess coming out, that's good. You can't really wear rubber gloves doing this because the rubber just sticks to it. And then press super hard here. Should look like that. You can see that now. That's how I do it. So there's one side done. Let's do the other side. Same again. And that's it. There's your tear. If you want, you can, if they're going to leak down the sides here. You can just put a tiny bit of glue there. I have been known in the past just to put a bead along there, but I don't think it's necessary. Key is when doing them, is when you do your flats, don't let excess glue go down the sides because you have to do them separate. And then, yeah, before I let that go off for about 10 minutes before I start coming back. Okay, so now then I'd let that set for a bit, roll that back, see the black line, that's where your vac is, and your chop line. Go really gentle with that, only just expose it, because if you're pulling in the inversion away that way, it can easily pull off, okay, because you're getting point pressure on the glue seam, whereas this way is pretty strong when it's like that. Yeah, that's how I do my tears. Never let me down. But when you're rolling, it in, go in at lowest possible pressure, it inverts, pressurizes, and then it hits the sides and it anchors. Then we can build the pressure up gradually. Don't be bottoming out really hard, as in theory. Yeah. So, it's only been a few minutes. Pretty good. Yep. Tearaways. That's how I do them. So I hope that demonstration helped you, or just made you food for thought. But tearaways, keynotes are they are used to get around multiple bends in close proximity. Try and always get camera access to where this is going to be. Be acutely aware of where this is. Make sure it's not over a huge cavity, because that really does put stress on the glue joint. You want the glue joint to be in the pipe, so the force is actually being pressed against the pipe, and it's the pipe doing the work, not the glue. If your drum set up for hot cure, don't be sending the rope and the hose down. Use say a 1 ton lay flat, and all you do is just say your shot's 5 meters long. You just get your rope and hose and tie 10 meters of lay flat on. That means that when this is inverting, it's only dragging the weight of the lay flat and not the rope and hose, which it can be quite stiff, especially going around gullies. At least a 1 ton, because you will have to pull hard. Never stretchy para rope, because that is just going to stretch on the gully and you might really struggle, and it really hurts your hands. I hope that tutorial helped you. I'm Adam Whaling from REH. If you need any training, contact me on my socials at 0401 276 433. Love your lining. I do. See you later.